Breaking news that's coming in right now. A convergence of 14 political parties move the Supreme Court alleging misuse of agencies like the CBI and ED against leaders of opposition. Senior advocate Abhishek Manu Singhvi mentions the case before the Supreme Court. In fact, before the bench headed by the Chief Justice of India, there are 14 political parties and they're saying that basic structure is getting affected. We are asking for guidelines for the future. 95% of misuse of agencies is against leaders of opposition is what the parties are saying in their petition before the Supreme Court. The conviction rate, though, is 4 to 5% as far as central agencies are concerned. The petition also says we're asking for pre-arrest guidelines and bail guidelines. We don't want to affect any investigation in the past. This is what they've said. The Supreme Court is to hear this matter on the 5th of April. Srishti Ojha is over the phone line with me right now. Srishti, give us more details about what these 14 parties have said before the court today.
Well, Pauline, as we know, the case has been filed by 14 political parties, and what we had the information that we have received is that these parties include International Congress and DMK, RJD, PMCA and others. The case was mentioned before the Chief Justice of India by Senior Advocate A.M. Singhvi, who has said that a convergence of these 14 parties has come together alleging misuse of agencies, investigating agencies like CBI and ED, especially against leaders of opposition. What he has pointed out is that 95% of misuse of these agencies is being done against opposition leaders, whereas the conviction rate is only found to be 4 to 5%. They've very specifically clarified that they're not seeking any interference with any pending investigation against these opposition and against any opposition leaders. All they're seeking is issuance of some guidelines as far as arrest and remand by these agencies is concerned. So what they want is pre-arrest guidelines, post-arrest guidelines, and also some guidelines regarding grant of bail. Because we know that when some of these investigating agencies, especially ED, arrests a person or an accused in any money laundering case, getting bail gets really difficult because the bail law is really stringent as far as CMLA law is concerned. So that is what these parties have approached the Supreme Court for, and the Supreme Court has agreed to hear the case on 5th April. So we'll have to wait and watch to see to what extent would Supreme Court decide to interfere in this present case. Back to you.
Okay, so what are they seeking? They're seeking guidelines, specifically pre-arrest guidelines. What more?
Yes, what they're saying is that the basic structure that is a very important part of the Constitution is being affected in the way these investigating agencies have started operating. And the democracy itself is in a peril, because if investigating agencies like CBI and ED specifically target opposition leaders at the way that they're alleging is happening, then democracy and the Constitution itself is not left in a good position. So they're seeking Supreme Court's interference, Supreme Court being the top court of the country, to interfere in this particular situation and issue guidelines, because any form of direct interference by Supreme Court may not be possible. So what they're seeking now is to have proper guidelines to control and regulate, basically, importantly, how these investigating agencies work. Because if these guidelines are in place, which are laid down by the top court of the country, those will have to be followed by these investigating agencies. But whether or not, because these investigating agencies have a particular...
Okay, that's an important piece of breaking information that Srishti is bringing to us from the Supreme Court. 14 opposition parties have now moved the Supreme Court seeking proper guidelines for central agencies alleging misuse of central agencies against specifically opposition leaders.